Hi everyone, and thank you again for watching Gaffer Gear. In today's episode, I'm going to do an update on what I keep in my small lighting van. It was 5 years ago I did the last episode on this, and a lot has changed. Let's start off by having a quick overview of the lights that are in the package. The largest lights I carry as standard in this van are 1200s. And at this stage, in terms of all the COB lights, they're all apertures. I've got 3 1200Xs, 2 1000Cs, one 400X, all with Fresnels. And I have 4 Storm 80Cs, all with Fresnels. I have 2 36-degree projectors, 2 19-degree projectors, and a small lantern. In terms of domes and lanterns, I have 2 150s, 2 90s, and a lantern 60. For panel floodlights, we're using Nova P300Cs. We have 2 Aladdin 3x3 bicolor matte lights. These are the oldest LED lights that I own, and the only reason I'm still using them is because of their form factor. Nobody else makes a 3-foot by 3-foot light, and for the marketplace that this van package works in, a 3x3 is perfect. I can get this over the top of a set with nothing more complex than a standard boom arm. My other panel lights are all Nanlux Pavo Slims because these lights set up extremely quickly. With tube lights, I have Titan tubes, Helios tubes, and Aperture MTs. This is a complete changeover from what I used to have a few years ago. The reason I'm using these 3 types of tubes is because I know the battery's not going to be flat when I pull them out of the van. In terms of pocket lights and smart bulbs, I have 10 MC Pros, and a B7C 8 kit. Now each of my vans has its own dedicated CRMX control system. So this is using Blackout, which is DMX software, and 2 dedicated transmitters that are built into this box to control all of the lights that are on the set. All right, let's take a look in the back aisle now, and the first thing you'll notice is I've got 2 big canvas boards. So these are 3 foot by 5 foot. So I use these as reflectors. So we just put a Cardellini clamp on and then put it onto a C-stand. So I can put one of these on a C-stand and I've got a 3 foot by 5 foot reflector, or I can join the 2 of them together side by side on 2 C-stands, and I've got a 6 foot by 5 foot reflector set up really quick. The next thing in the back aisle is a carbon fiber ramp. Now it simply unfolds. It has a non-slip surface on the top, and down the bottom it has rubber to stop it from sliding. The next thing in the back is a fold-up hand trolley, which folds up flat and takes up next to no space. So the L-shaped piece of wood is to simply stop anything from falling through. These trolleys have solid wheels so they don't get flat tires. However, they're no good on sand or surfaces like that. And the handles do fold around to the front, so I can put a light stand in here and strap it into position. We have some rubber mats on the floor. We just use those to cover cables. And we also have in the back an electric fold-up cart. Now this is a 4-wheel drive electric cart. Now it doesn't take up much space when it's packed up, so we just leave it in the van out of the way if we're not using it. Now it takes about 1.5 minutes to set up, and it can carry 200 kilograms of payload. Now the aisle was made at a width to fit a standard gorilla cart. So if you ask us nicely, we can bring some additional gorilla carts for other departments if they're needed. Now in the side door, I typically keep 2 Aladdin 3x3 soft light kits. These are assembled and ready to go. And I also keep my onset trolley. Now I can move all this stuff into the back aisle, and if need be, I can fit a 7 kVA generator into this space. So these Aladdins are pre-assembled on an aluminium frame, diffuser attached, ready to go. And we also have the controllers ready to go with stand clamps, so we can mount them directly onto the light stands. Okay, let's have a look at my onset trolley. So this was originally a gels trolley and it's just been repurposed. All right, so I've got some light stands. So I keep 3 of those lengths and 2 smaller units. I've got a couple of Kookalarises in the back there. So Kookalarises are just for making shapes. So I made these back when I was about 18 or 19, so they could probably do with a coat of paint right now. I've got some 2x2 blade frames, so just 2 foot by 2 foot, and I've got some gels that are cut into 2 foot lengths. I also have an assortment of wooden cutters. So what I like about wooden cutters is you can use them out in the rain, it doesn't matter. We've got some bar clamps. Got some small reflectors, got some cinefoil, got some long Cardellini clamps. I have some smaller arms with, what are these things called, nano clamps. We've got a Z arm in here as well. And I've got a couple of magic arms, as well as, I think it's 6 Cardellinis and 4 super clamps or Maffa clamps. Now, just a quick insert shot. There are also 2 turtle floor stands in here. So these just go on the floor and they're just for mounting your baby pin lights. I have my safety chains. We keep some ratchet straps, some cleaning cloths. Mainly use the cloths to dry things off if they get wet. Some smaller clips. Now, these things I like. So these are an Edison connection, so they screw into a light fixture so that you can stick a magnetized light onto them like an MC Pro. Okay, now in addition to that, I keep some little pieces of metal. So what I use the metal for is I will tape the metal to, say, a wall or something like that. And on the side of the trolley here, I have magnets. Okay, so I can then mount the lights with the magnet to that piece of metal or to a metal surface. I also carry a fire extinguisher. That is regulation in Australia for me to carry one of those. I have loads of small spigots. I have extended spigots. I only carry a couple of scissor clamps, and I also have 4 grip heads. Now, I also carry a bag of tennis balls which have a split in them so that we can put these over stand legs so we don't scratch floors. My gaffer tapes and my tapes I keep all in the one bundle like that. So if people want to borrow some tape, they take a little bit off. They don't take a roll and then steal it or lose it. And I've also got some A clamps. Now, my heavy duty combo stands are just stored in the side here. So I've got 5 super cines and 3 low combos. To get these out, all you do is undo and it comes out of the pipe in the top. Now, in the side door up against the wall, I have a couple of ladders. We'll take those out so we can see what's behind them. So behind the ladders, I have my nets kit. So I have one of each size net in here. That's all I tend to need on the smaller van. Okay, behind that I have 2 foot by 4 foot flippies, so I've got 2 of those. Now behind those I have some floppies. Now, as you can see, these floppies are not quite 4 foot, so they were custom made for me because a 4 foot floppy didn't fit. Behind those I've got a handheld reflector board, so that's silver on one side, white on the other, and I've got 2 4x4 blade frames which only just fit into the door here. So I used to carry 4 4-foot blade frames. Now I only carry 2 2-foot blade frames because that's all I seem to use. Let's have a look what I keep on the floor in the side here. So tucked in right behind here I have some gels, so like NDs and diffusers. They're for treating any windows. I keep 1 more rubber mat on this side just to stop the onset trolley from sliding around in the back. Underneath here I keep a 30-meter 3-phase cable, and I also keep a 3-phase power adapter in there. So I can plug into 3-phase, 20 amp, 32 amp and 50 amp. Now on this side underneath here, I keep some drain covers. So what I use the drain covers for is if I'm working on, say, grass, I can have my stand leg onto the drain cover so that the stand doesn't sink into the grass if it's wet. Now in the center of gravity of the van, I have 20 shop bags. Now the shop bags in Australia seem to be different to what I've seen in the States. So they're a little bit smaller. They're full of metal, so this weighs 12.5 kilograms, and they're not designed to go on the leg of the stand. They're designed to go on the strut or the support that holds the leg into place. Now on the bottom shelf, directly opposite the side door, I have 3 1200X kits. Let's pull one of these out and take a look. Now I store my 1200Xs with the Fresnel attached. So I've got the barn doors on the top. The Fresnel is attached and ready to go. Head leads are stored on top of the light. I've got the controller over there, the controller clamp, and I've also got the reflector dish. So the reason I keep the 3 1200Xs in their cases is the type of work we do, it's actually easier just to pull one of these out and wheel it onto set. Now I've got 2 1000Cs up here with the Fresnels, and these are not kept in the cases because the cases didn't fit on the shelf. The next thing on this shelf is 2 Nova P300Cs. So it might surprise you guys that I've kept these. We use these pretty much just to light backgrounds behind a presenter or something like that. So they do the job, but the other reason we've kept these and haven't upgraded is because these lights can run off 2 V-mount batteries. We also have 2 soft boxes which store on top, and we store the cables on the ballast clamps. On the top shelf, I have a bag with 2 Pavoslim 60CLs in it. Now in the 60CL kits, you can fit 2 of everything, including 2 of the lights, of course. Now where these really hero for me is as backlights if I've got a low ceiling. So they're 2 foot long, but they're only half a foot tall. Behind those, I have 4 ADC kits, 2 with 36-degree lenses and 2 with 19-degree lenses. And stored behind those kits is a lantern for the ADCs. So in each of these kits we have an ADC, we have the Fresnel for it, and we have a projector mount, as well as the power supplies, a Bowen mount, and a clamp adapter for putting a V-mount battery on the stand. Next to the ADCs is an eye light kit. Now the eye light kit consists of an MC Pro. We've got one of these domes. So the idea behind this dome is it gives you a reflection in the person's eyes of a circle. So these are called eye lights in Australia. Other parts of the world they're called catch lights. We also keep a spigot in here so we can mount this to the camera if we need to. And I've also got a power supply to charge this. Now this is pretty much your standard MC Pro kit, except I've taken a few things out and put another 2 MC Pros. So we've got 10 in total instead of 8. And the additional 2 can charge off the USB ports here. And the last thing on that shelf is a kit of B7Cs. Now these are the only lights that I've got that don't work off our blackout lighting console. Now in the back, I've got a nest of 10 C-stands. Now in order to get this to work, the baby C-stands need to be on the outside. Now above those, I have 2 frame kits. Now these frame kits are for my 12x12 and my 8x8. Above those, I have the 12x12 frame rods, and I have my 6x6 frame rods, which have joiners already connected. Now wind-up stands don't fit upright in this vehicle, so they are stored underneath on the driver's side. The wind-up stands are my go-to for boom arms, or if I'm using a light outside. Stored next to the wind-up stands, I keep a couple of long bar clamps. Above those, I store our 3-foot domes, our 5-foot domes, and our Lantern 60, so these can just pull out if required. And above those, I have a nest of stands with 3 medium-sized combo stands and 2 baby stands. We have wheels for 8 stands plus jumbo grip heads. Stored above those are some swiveling C-clamps, and we have some power stations for the Nova P300Cs, which can clamp onto the light stands. Behind those we have some wire shelves. So in the bottom shelf are my V-mount batteries. So I've got 12 V-mount batteries in here, and they're all high capacity, so 310 watt hour. Above that we have some power boards. Above that we have V-mount battery chargers, and above that we have our smaller tubes like our MT Pros, which I have 2 kits. Next to those are another 2 drawers of cables. The bottom drawer has our 30 meter and 20 meter cables. The top drawer has our 5 meter cables, 10 meter cables, and DMX cables. Now I also have an auto pole stored on the side here. I have a baby auto pole stored here, and 2 standard length large auto poles across the ceiling, along with my 8x8 frame. In the gap between the top of the shelving and the ceiling, we store our tube lights. Now these are old cases for Nungguang tubes, but I've recycled them for my Titans and Helios. So we have 1 bag with 4 Titan tubes, 1 bag with 4 Helios tubes, and the last bag has all of the power supplies and cables. Now these bags are great. They have separate zippable compartments, and I've got in each compartment the accessories for the tube in a plastic bag. On either side of the aisle, I have the boom arms stored. So 1 on each side. Stored on the left-hand side at ground height, we have 2 240CLs in the back case and 2 120CLs in the foreground case. The power supplies here are for the Aladdins. On the top shelf, we have our diffusions and ultra bouncers for our 4x4s, 6x6s, and 8x8s. Next to those, we have another Pavoslim case. This one has a Pavoslim 240C. And next to that, we have a 400X kit with Fresnel. Now the 400X is stored in its bag with the Fresnel and barn doors attached. Stored underneath that is a box of my 12x12 textiles, and next to that is a 3-phase power box. Now on the passenger seat and in the passenger footwell, I store my blacks. I keep them separate from the other materials, so if I need a black, I know I come to the front seat. If I need a diffusion or an ultra bounce, I go into the back of the van. I keep a first aid kit down the side here, and I also keep in the door well here all of my tie downs. Now underneath the blacks on the floor in the passenger footwell, I have a flat pack toolkit. So that has every tool I could possibly need to fix a light. Now they're really cheap tools. They are absolute crap. And the good thing about those is they don't get stolen. Now in the driver's door, I keep my tool pouch, sunscreen and deodorant. And in case I need to secure a generator to something like a power pole, I have a bike chain. In my tool pouch, I carry gloves, a contrast filter. I prefer that to a Gaffer's glass. I have a circuit tester here. I have a volt stick, pair of scissors. In the main body of the pouch, I have 2 sets of Allen keys, metric and imperial. I keep various size spanners. I keep a power meter. I can't remember what that's called. Multimeter. Keep one of those. Cabling for the multimeter. I have a cable made up to test power outlets in the multimeter and a Leatherman tool. Stored under the driver's seat, I keep a complete change of clothes. I also have a roll of toilet paper. In between the driver and passenger seat, I store 4 sets of Apple boxes and a set of radio comms. In the top of the comms kit, I keep a spare set of batteries for each of the comms and a V-mount battery so I can charge the comms batteries without having access to AC. And I bought some kneeling pads from the hardware store, which I use as a cushion for my Apple boxes, so I've got somewhere comfortable to sit. Now you might have noticed that I've only got the one cart. Now the reason I don't have stand carts or C-stand carts is because that's what my clients wanted. We don't have room on location to store more than just that one cart there. Usually the van is parked in the driveway where we're filming. For the bulk of the jobs that this van goes out on, the van is the gear dump. There's nowhere else to put the equipment. So as much as possible, we need to get hardware accessible without having to step into the van. And as much as possible, we need to keep the aisles clear so that if it rains, we can store stuff in here and still work. Not kept permanently in the van, but can be supplied as extras. I have 2 Honda 2 kVA generators, a 7 kVA generator, 2 3 kVA generators, and if you want to run silently, we have 2000 watt EcoFlow battery systems. And if you're shooting exteriors, we can chuck some reflector boards in the back aisle.